Hey team, welcome back to Dicks on Twitch. Back today with something a little bit different. So recently, Ali on MTGO tweeted about a list that he was playing with, which you can see here, which looks pretty sweet. So this is a green-black based Dark Depths deck that also plays Saga, and was also utilizing a card called Thraben Turbine, which is a 1-mana artifact that at the beginning of your upkeep, you may add 2 colorless, but you can't spend this mana to cast spells. So you can obviously use it to activate abilities. Thespian Stage is 2, Elvish Reclaimer is 2, Expedition Map is 2, Urza's Saga is 2. So some pretty cool synergy there with Thran, which can also be found from a Saga, which is really nice. But one thing that Ali found was this deck isn't playing Hexmage, which means you don't have those sort of turn 1 hand disruption pieces and then turn 2 Hexmage Depths of like a turn 1 Urborg. And the other thing was that the Thran Turbine was not enough acceleration before turn 3, even if you cast it turn 1. So I've gone with something a little bit different to try out here. So we still have a bunch of targets for Crop Rotation and Reclaimer in a Ghost Quarter, a Step, a Caracas, and a Bog. Playing Ghost Quarter here over Wasteland because these Pith Needles are most likely going to be naming Wasteland, and I do want to have some way to interact with opposing lands. We then have sort of the core mana base being 4 Verdants, a Snow-Covered Swamp, a Snow-Covered Forest, and 3 Bayous. These probably could just be normal basics. We're not playing anything like Into the North, which finds snow lands, I believe. But I do like that against something like a Bant deck, they might be thinking we're on a card like Field of the Dead, which might make them sideboard a little bit differently or play a little bit differently. We then kind of have the Saga package, so we're playing the full 4 Saga, a map to find any of these one-of lands, or maybe another Saga or a piece for the combo. Retrofit a Foundry, which is just a really nice way to make sure that if we do kind of flat out a little bit, we do have something to pump a lot of mana into. And Foundry on its own can really win games as well. Shadow Spear I really like, especially with Dark Depths. Against some of these 8-cast decks, they do have a lot of ways to block Dark Depths through colorless sources, mainly being 1/1 Thopters. So Steppy there, or Step, does not do anything. So having the Shadow Spear to trample over, and even just as a way to kind of make combat damage and combat math a little bit different against Delver can be really, really nice. We then have the 4 Moxes, of course. I'm playing Moxes in this list because this list is a little bit slower than traditional Green-Black Depths. We're not playing Lotus Petal, Elvish Spirit Guide, Not of This World. So I do want to have the Moxes there for reoccurring ways to produce mana. And obviously something like Mox Diamond into Sylvan Library turn 1 is what I really want to be doing. This version is playing Hexmage, so going for the 4 Hexmage, 4 Stage, and 4 Dark Depths. To find these lands, we have 4 Reclaimer and 4 Crop Rotation. And then just ways to kind of protect ourselves. We have 4 Needle, which is obviously really nice against Caracas and Wasteland. 4 Thoughtseize in the main deck, just because it hits everything. I did have a mix of Inquisition and Duress in here as well, but I decided just to go with the 4 Thoughtseize in the main, and then make a little bit of room for some amount of removal in Assassin's Trophy, which I do like over Abrupt Decay, just because it hits things like Murktide Regent, Khan the Great Creator, opposing lands if needed. It can be sort of our out to start our opponent having to activate a Wasteland, or getting rid of a Caracas is pretty nice. And usually when you're casting Trophy on something, what you're dealing with, being a threat or a disruptive piece, is usually a lot better for your opponent than the basic they're getting. So the downside there isn't too bad. There's sometimes times where you have the Decay in hand and your opponent has a Murktide or something and you just feel like you really want that trophy. So I think for version 1 of this deck, I'm going to try out the trophies in the main deck. Hey, Cypher. I could definitely split Trophy and Decay and then maybe come to a few situations where one might be better than the other with one in hand. But we'll see how the trophies go. And then the libraries. I'm just a big fan of library. I didn't want to play Bob just because it's more open to removal, and I did want a way to recur or get back some of the card disadvantage of Mox Diamond. So playing the 2 libraries here. I was also considering playing 2 Loams in the main deck and then playing the trophies in the sideboard. But I did just want to have a way to get rid of some things in the main deck, so I think trophies should be okay. Force of Vigor and Collector Oof in the sideboard for the Artifact and Enchantment decks, which, to be fair, Force has been a little bit slow against some of the 8-cast decks. Like, even if you can 2-for-1 them on something really solid, it's a deck that can really claw back very quickly with the amount of card draw they have through their permanents. So I was thinking of Seeds of Innocence, which is 1 and 2 green, destroy all artifacts. They can't be regenerated, and then the artifacts destroyed, their converted mana cost is totaled, I believe, and the controller of those artifacts gains that much life. So against an 8-cast deck, it's pretty awesome because it destroys everything. They gain a little bit of life, which isn't really relevant, but I think Force should be okay. Endurance is just an all-star. Endurance is just one of my favorite cards because it's really nice against a lot of stuff. Deed is actually an interesting one, Cypher. Deed is a card that I didn't think of that I probably should have, because I did see, obviously, you play it, and Cyrus talking about it this morning with Ant, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, maybe there should be, because I was wanting a third sort of Plague Engineer effect, and I was looking at Toxic Deluge, but I do like the thought of Deed. We do have a few opponents on our side of the board that would be hit usually in the Deed matchups, but Deed could definitely be a consideration in this deck. 2 Hymns. I was going to go for more 1-drop interaction like Duress or Inquisition, but Hymn's just a really fun card. And we can cast it turn 1 with Mox Diamond, which is nice. But I think Hymn just has that little bit of a randomness effect to it, which is always pretty fun to play with. So if I get a chance to play with him, I'm going to play with him. Just the 2 ley lines, which I think is fine. There's only a few decks around at the moment that I really want them against. We do have things like Crop Rotation into Bog, or of course those Endurance as well. So I didn't want to have the full 4 ley line and then not play Endurance, which is just really nice against the Delver decks. Some of the control decks, we just want the 3/4 beater, etc. And then Choke's just a card that I just really enjoy playing. I think Choke's a pretty amazing card. Even with some of these, Bant decks playing not many islands, I think that Choke is pretty nice. If they're spending a Prismatic Ending on the Choke, then at least it's 1 less Prismatic Ending for something like a Library or a Reclaimer, which is kind of cool. Deed does hit Saga. That is very true. I didn't think of that. But a good way to get rid of opposing Sagas, which is cool. And yeah, if you need to Deed, you need to Deed. So this should be pretty cool. I have no real, I guess, expectations, but the deck is solid. Like, it still has that sort of turn 1 Urborg, Thoughtseize, turn 2 Dark Depths, Hexmage line to it, which is really cool. So hopefully that can come off once or twice. While this is loading, I'm quickly going to get a coffee. I'll be 2 seconds. Oh, I was talking that whole time. That's classic. That is classic. I was talking so much. Yeah, so I'm going to take the Lucky here. I kind of want them to wasteland me because I'm going to play the Mox now, pitching the Saga, which I don't really want to do, but I think that's okay. To be fair, do we really care about the Urborg here? I mean, next turn... Yeah, so Expert we don't care about. The Crater Maker we don't really care about. A little bit annoying because we have some permanents they can hit, but that's otherwise War Chief we can't really take. So I think it is just going to be Lackey. There was a consideration to not take the Lackey, so they cast it turn 1, but because we don't have a removal spell for it, I don't really want to take that line. Especially if they draw into like a ringleader or something else, so... Hey, Anonymous Cheerer, thanks for the bits. Alright. And at least now we know as well. So the question is, do I want to cast this Mox and get rid of the Saga or not? And I don't think I do. I think I'm pretty happy just to pass with the Mox open. But if we don't draw lands over the next few turns and they play the Crater Maker and take out the Mox, it's pretty bad. So actually I'm just going to go for Mox here. I could potentially name Wasteland here as well. That's pretty interesting. I don't mind that. That's pretty nice. The only downside here is if they draw Vile, I'd much rather probably name Vile with the Windswept Heath. They actually played a fetch land, so they actually showed us what they drew, which is interesting. They didn't play the bad lands. Another Thoughtseize, okay. Probably pretty happy to take the Crater Maker here. And just pass. Could potentially turn this Urborg into a Saga, but I probably want to do that once I have another land, just so I know that I'm actually hitting it. Alright, that's a bad lands. Bayou, okay. I think I'd rather the Bayou here than the second Mox. No Expert. Okay, they're just going to play a War Chief out here. Okay. The question is, do I want to use the Crop here? Second Mox does build the constructs, that's very correct. I probably do want to trade in the Bayou here for a Crop, for a Saga. Obviously it's tough if that I then draw into either Stage or Dark Depths. Or another Crop. I do need to get some pressure going because next turn they play another War Chief. And then they swing for at least 4. So maybe there's a world where Saga is actually just too slow. They swing for 4, I go to 10, we then get to untap. We then make 1 construct, which would be a 3/3. But then Munition Expert deals with it. I'm actually going to take a draw here and just hopefully draw into either Crop or one piece of the combo. Caracas. Now I probably rather the second Mox. A little bit of a yikes. No face cam. I haven't I've got my room sorted at my new place, but I haven't got the background sorted for the face cam because I'm not going to do a green screen anymore. matron. What drink am I cracking? This is a sparkling cold brew. So it's a cold brew coffee with sparkling water, which is pretty nice. Oh, they got a pile driver. Yikes. We don't have a great way to deal with pile driver. Hey, HG Bud. Come on, One Piece. Okay, I think it's just too slow, unfortunately. We might get one crack at this, though. Because we get to block the pile driver. They need to play 2 creatures here. I think the Wasteland is going to keep them off that. They can play the War Chief with 2 mana. And then they have the Wasteland and 1 other card. Oh, second Wasteland. Ah, of course. The Urborg. Maybe the play was to actually crop away the Urborg in my turn to stop them from having the black here. Hey, Mining Man. Oh, actually, maybe there's a world where I can crop it away now so they can't have double munitions expert here to get through for 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that doesn't do it. I don't really care about them having the Urborg now. They can't cast Sling. I guess, yeah, because they've already played a land for turn. So I think we just allow this to resolve and don't get rid of the Urborg just yet. I'm just going to do this now. Oof. Nice. So a little bit of patience there got us there because the Saga would have been way too slow. So luckily with that crop rotation, we did just have to wait to draw into one piece of the combo, being staged in this case. But I think I definitely made a mistake there of not getting rid of my Urborg a little bit earlier to keep them off some sort of way that they could get multiple creatures into play. But an interesting one. Alright. I like the Engineers. There is a world where I kind of just like the Endurances as 3/4s, to be honest. The Loam is also interesting. I'm not sure if they'll bring in Relic. Let's go. Alright. I think on the draw, the Thought Seizers are a lot worse. I like the Needles, obviously I like the Plagues. The Libraries are... I can drop down on a Library as well, most likely. Having a turn 1 for Goblin Lackey is going to be a bit of an issue. Hey Star Fox, welcome. Hope you're well. I don't mind 1 Loam. And that's 60. I kind of want the Oof, but I'm not going to see it too often. Oof is also a little bit easier for them to deal with things like Munitions Expert and Goblin Crater Maker, but Force of Vigor can't be hit. We do have the needles anyway for Vial, so I don't think we really need the oof. I think this is fine. I guess there's a world where Thoughtseize is actually kind of nice, because if they turn one Lackey, we can then Thoughtseize them to take their best card. Maybe they kept something like Lackey, Vial, lands, and like a big card. I can actually take out the Bog. That's a pretty easy take. It might just be Bog and Library. And use Loam as kind of my card engine. And just bring in 2 Thoughtseize. That looks pretty nice. Yeah. Moxes are also a little bit interesting, but I do like that we have the ability to then try to get kind of above the curve. Okay. Not the greatest hand. Yeah. Really tough. A lot of great cards, but it's really just a one-lander off this Mox. So I'm not going to keep this. It does a double Plague as well, which is tough. But I want to be hitting my land drops. This is actually pretty good. Because we can hold up Trophy on turn 1. Or play Hexmage out if we really wanted to. And then turn 2 we have Crop. So I'm going to keep this in bottom 1 Mox. I think that's what I want to do. And then we still have turn 1 Mox into Trophy, which means we have to pitch a Saga. But then we have turn 2 Hexmage with Crop up if we draw land. Which is cool. Hey Moses. Well, there's Lackey. Reclaimer. Interesting. Oh, I could also play Reclaimer here and then hold up Crop, which gives us access to multiple ways to build out the Reclaimer. I actually like that more. So let's go Mox. And then Saga puts 1 land in the bin. Verdant Catacombs puts 2 lands in the bin. And then Crop Rotation puts the 3rd. So what I would love to see here is a tap out for the 1 and a black creature. Green. Interesting. Huh. I didn't think of this, but we do still have Crop for Step, which is nice. That does take us off the ability to Trophy or Hexmage next turn, though, which is tough. But I still think that's fine. It looks like they're really trying to get this through. And we can also use Reclaimer to get rid of the Step anyway, so we're in a pretty nice position here. Well, that's also nice. It does give them access to black. I think that's okay. Because then we can hold up Trophy, and then we can go end step of their turn, go and get Dark Depths instead of the Step, and then play Urborg, play Hexmage, and then we just have the 20/20 up. I don't want to play Hexmage out here without any way to protect it from some sort of removal spell. Okay, that's a pretty big win. Plague. Oof. I kind of just want to play the Plague here, but Hex is also quite nice. I think it is just Hex and then try to win the game the following turn. Okay, well, sometimes that's just how the Goblins deck goes, so pretty fortunate to have that crop into Step, because Sting Scourger, although old tech, is a card that I just didn't think of when thinking about my options, and obviously without the crop, not holding up Trophy there would have been pretty bad if they get through with the lackeys. So always nice to start out with a win. Deck seemed cool. I'm actually not a fan of this sparkling cold brew, but you know what? It'll do. It's always nice to try new things. All right. Clockwork Dean. Clockwork Dean is currently 2-0. Hey, Legacy Goblins. Welcome. Apologies for that game. Big Goblins fan here, so... It sounded pretty gross, but I didn't want to put you off it. Classic. Interesting hand. It doesn't have either piece of the combo, but it has kind of a nice grind to it. We're also pretty close to making the Reclaimer naturally a 3-4 through a Fetch and Mock, so I'm actually going to keep this and see how it goes. Needle can sometimes just really get people as well, so that's pretty cool. Opponent goes to 6 cards. Flooded Strand. Another Needle. Pretty happy to play out the Bayou here. I could also go Fetch into Basic, which would then allow me to draw into a Fetch land and then Mox and then play Reclaimer as a 3-4. But against the Flooded Strand deck, they're most likely on Swords to Plowshares, not Lightning Bolt, so having it as a 3-4 is not really that big of a deal. Also, if I draw into a Sylvan Library and then just see lands on top, I probably want to have the shuffle of Verdant Catacombs, then pay for cards that I actually want. So I think I actually am just going to go Bayou here. And then see if they respond to the Needle. Underground Sea. Interesting. Flooded Strand, Underground Sea. Makes me think of combo. Something like Doomsday. We do have the second one for Wasteland, so I don't have to just blind Wasteland here. Yeah, I think Blind Wasteland here is pretty nice. And then I might actually play out the Reclaimer here. Probably get rid of the Step, seeing it's just going to be in my hand anyway. I could keep this in case it's like a Baleful Strix deck. Get rid of the Urborg. I don't mind that. We don't play Wasteland. We are playing a 1-of Ghost Quarter for interaction. Ponder. This definitely makes me think it's going to be Doomsday. Oh, prismatic ending perhaps? Okay. Interesting. Claimer. The main reason for Ghost Quarter is that we are playing 4 Pithing Needle in the deck, so we want to name Wasteland, but then also have an out to opposing Sagas, Karakas, even Dark Depths themselves, so it's a nice way to have a Wasteland style effect in the deck, while also being able to Pithing Needle Wasteland turn 1, which is pretty cool. And then you can also Ghost Quarter yourself if really needed, especially if you're trying to get a Reclaim out of Bolt range or something like that. I think I'm just going to play the Step Tapped, but this could be like an Esper deck, so I kind of might want to keep this for Strix, as I said, so... Hey, you're welcome, Goal. Something like a Teferi here would be kind of nice, because then I can actually name it with Needle. Hexmage, okay. It's pretty nice. I'll start with Needle. Oh. Name Teferi. Time Reveler. Play Reclaimer. And I'm still gonna hold the step here. I'm just trying to think of mana. It does mean next turn we get to 2/2, which is nice. So if we play the step tapped here, we then untap with 1, 2, 3, 4 mana, which means we can hold up Reclaimer for 2 and play Hexmage for 2. So actually, I'm just going to play the step here. That was a pretty aggressive F6, and it allows us to know that they don't have a force in hand, which is pretty big. We'll see what the Ponder does. Oof. Yeah, I'm gonna put that that coffee aside. They chose to shuffle, which is pretty huge for us. Ethereal Forager, interesting, old school. Oh, and they do have Wasteland. Nice. Where are you, HD butt? Very nice. Oh, okay. That's a nice draw. It's a nice draw. So I don't want to play out. I could attack into the. I could play Depths, play Hexmage, attack into Teferi, see if they block, and then go for it, and then make this a 3/4. But I probably just don't really care about the Forager here. And they can't tick up, thankfully, so they can't use the Prismatic Ending in instant speed yet. I probably also want to fetch here, so they can't respond to me fetching by destroying the Reclaimer. And I'm just going to get a Bayou. A big advantage of playing the Rainbow Depths list is with Brainstorm, you get to put a card like Step back into the deck, which is pretty nice. Or in the green-white deck, you have a second step, which is really nice. Interesting. So here I'm pretty happy to do this in response. Just so they can't wasteland me here. They probably have another removal spell, but you never know. They're going to try to stifle it. That doesn't work, unfortunately, because it will just trigger again. Unless they have some sort of something else to do. Yeah. So unfortunately, what they should have done is stifled the Hexmage trigger by sacrificing it. So instead of hitting the Dark Depths, which just triggers again, because what happens is Hexmage targets the Dark Depths with 10 counters on it, and then removes those counters, and then Dark Depths triggers. And then what happens is my opponent has tried to stifle that ability of when it checks, there's no counters, that it gets a 20/20. It just rechecks because it just checks state-based actions. It has 0 on it, so it just keeps happening. So we'll see if my opponent has something else here, like a Caracas as their land drop. Ponder into hopefully a shuffle. Nice. Okay. Hey, Jerry. Camera is off because I don't have a good setup yet for my background, but it's coming. It is coming. All right, what do we like here? I like the hymns. I like the chokes. I don't mind the endurances. Something like these 6. We're going pretty grindy, so I'm going to take out the Moxes. I'm going to drop down on 1 Depths as well, seeing they have Wasteland in the deck. His room is full of cardboard boxes. $61. No cam naked stream. I was gonna wear no pants. I'll be honest there, but it's probably just a trim here. It might just be a crop. Caracas could be the go actually, especially being Esper. I'm not have to worry about something like an Uro. I think it might just be the Caracas. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. No Uro, no Ragavan. Yeah, I mean, what a format. What a format. This is a pretty nice hand. Just go for a basic base. This is actually interesting. I could go for Bayou to turn on the Endurance turn 3. And especially if I Bayou into Needle on Wasteland, I could then protect my Bayous. Unless they're playing Back to Basics, but looking at their mana base in game 1, I'm going to assume they're on a non-Back to Basics version because they have a lot of jewels. So actually I'm going to keep this though. I guess Mox here. Oh, yeah, we took out the Moxes, so that's not a consideration. Reclaimer. Oof, did not see that coming. Alright. Stifle in the air. You got it. Not too bad. Still have a few things to do here, which is nice. This buy means that next turn we can play either Thoughtseize or Reclaimer and play Saga with Needle, which is nice. Sinkhole. Wow, okay. Well, that's tough. Dark Depths. The question is, do I want to play the Saga here? I think I still do. But then it's pretty tough because then I might just lose it. I actually don't mind that. Hey, Vegeta, welcome. I missed you too. I missed you too. I like chats with Vegeta in them. The big question here is it Teferi or Jace? I feel like it's still just Teferi because we know about Teferi. But there is a thought for sure. But a Sinkhole every turn is pretty good here. Ashiok. Okay. I guess there's some consideration perhaps for a Yavimaya in the deck. Just because of cards like Endurance. To get back Stifle. I think we just concede here to the Ashiok, unfortunately. And probably just run it back, to be fair. There wasn't too much there that I really thought of that got away from us. The move is finally completed, thankfully. I'm pretty happy to go with this. This is a nice hand. Turn 1, we have like Bayou into Wasteland, into Library, into Stage with Crop Rotation open. Opponent kept 7. Ponder's okay. Hexmage, oof. Okay, that kind of makes me just want to go second Bayou here into Library. And then we can hold up Crop the following turn. Could also just go for Snow Covered. No, I think Bayou here is fine. Force. Okay. Sure. Well, I think we just go for Urborg here. Into Hexmage. This is actually pretty interesting. I could also go for Bog to turn off Forager, which is a black source, which then I can just copy with Stage anyway for second black. Maybe that's just a little bit better. Because Forager here is a little bit tough. Yeah, I don't mind that. Does mean we can't cast the Thespian Stage next turn though. But I think that's okay. Yeah. Well, now that's interesting. I actually don't mind Thoughtseize here to look at their hand. See what their payoff is. It was Forager. Interesting. Nice. Two, three. I think I just want to take the Ponder. But the Forger down the line is pretty annoying. I think it still is the Whale. Because the Brainstorm and Ponder are very similar. The Daze, once we know about it, isn't too scary, which is nice. So I think I'll just take that payoff, even though we did just bog them. And then I am just going to play the Step here. Know about these three. They drew Delta. They're going to Brainstorm. Now they Ponder. Ponder again. So it must have been a shuffle. Maybe a draw one card then shuffle. Chose to not shuffle, draw a card, and now they're pondering again, choosing not to shuffle. Okay. Another Needle. I'm probably pretty happy keeping the Needle for now and waiting for them to play some sort of Planeswalker. Nothing. Okay. Is there any interest in copying the Underground Sea here instead of the Bog? I don't think there is in case we draw into Choke over the next few turns. Don't really want to play this. think Urborg here isn't doing too much. I'm not casting the Hex Mage out without any targets, so I'd rather have the third unknown card in hand. Okay, nice. I think here then we play the Depths and then play Second Needle on... This is actually pretty interesting though, because I could name Wasteland again. I could go for Teferi, so they can't tick up and then hold up Prismatic Ending. What to do? I think if they had a Teferi, they would have played it, especially in the blind. I didn't have green up, so I couldn't have crop rotated, so I didn't have to worry about that. So I think I am just going to go for Second Wasteland. The question is, do I want to show off the Hex Mage yet? I don't. I'm just going to use a stage here to copy the Dark Depths. And I'm going to use the stage that isn't a bog, so I have double black still. So if they have Stifle, they want to Stifle here. But they didn't. Feels like a Swords to Plowshares, maybe like a Brazen Burrow bounce. Okay. That's fair. Reclaimer. No green just yet. Because they have the extra delta here, I'm pretty happy just to play the Urborg out. And then probably put the Hex Mage down. They haven't had removal yet in like Prismatic Ending for the Needles, so... Definitely an interesting one. They start attacking him with Brazen Burrower next turn. I think actually I'm just going to hold the Hex Mage until I actually have a target for it on board. So I don't just want to throw it away. I guess I could actually, I think this works. I'm pretty sure I can try to copy the polluted delta, and that way I could fetch for a green source for the reclaim if I don't draw one. They're gonna fetch, okay. Well, at least it forces the fetch. Sanctuary. Ugh. Ugh. Saga. I still want to play this out because we have the way to we have a way to copy it as well, which is nice. And I am now going to play out this Hex Mage. It's getting to a stage where I just need to start getting some sort of pressure on board. Well, this could be a hardcast force. I wouldn't mind that. Okay. Hexmage wasn't doing too much anyway, which is nice. And we have the stage still in play. Sinkhole targeting this. So now we can copy it with stage. So we still have a copy of Saga, which is nice. They didn't have the Stifle, which is nice. But this borrow is going to be pretty tough. When I copy the Saga right away, I'm not too scared of anything other than Stifle, perhaps. They're going to daze it. That's interesting. And I also wanted to keep open the Thespian stage just in case I wanted to copy something else. I don't think there was really anything else I wanted to target, but yeah, because Wasteland was taken out, I guess because of Stifle after they forced, I should have gotten rid of it. It's pretty good. Okay. Okay. Nice. We know Sinkhole's on top of their deck, which we don't really care about at sorcery speed. So they're going to try to Sinkhole here. Targeting this. I think we just go for Dark Depths here. They have one card left. What you got? Oh, okay, that's not too bad. We're getting 20 life. So we get a bit of time now. Did we bring in a Loam? We didn't bring in a Loam. That's okay. Oh, Saga's a pretty nice draw, let's be honest. Oh, second Saga. Wow. Stifle, perhaps? Okay, that's fine. I don't think I want to do the Saga now, just in case they draw Teferi or Jace and bounce the token. I'm happy to wait for end step. Ah, that's why. Okay, that's fair. Oh, Retrofitter? Nice. I do just want to float a mana here. And probably just get map into another Saga. Shadow Spear is definitely interesting. I think it might actually be Shadow Spear. I have 1 mana floating for the Retrofitter Foundry. I then have 2 mana floating for Saga and another 2 mana left. So it might just be Shadow Spear. And then I'm actually happy to make the Saga now, because then I have a Retrofitter Foundry token as well anyway. just to play around them drawing into a Stifle. But Saga here just really showing a lot of power. Probably was correct to get Expedition Map instead of the Shadow Spear. I didn't realize it also was free. For some reason, I thought I was 1 mana off. But I can get a second one here anyway if they don't have the Stifle. I'm kind of waiting for any sort of update with bans to update the site. I do want to go through some of the primers and just make sure they're all pretty good. But I definitely will. I'm definitely finding a bit more love for the format, which is nice. I don't think I have to equip here, which is pretty nice. No blocks. I am just going to make another guy. Which makes the constructs bigger. This is 2 to equip. Yeah. Wow. Like, let's be honest, Saga there was just incredible. I'm sure there were definitely some choices that I made that, looking back on this game, I could have done a lot better. And maybe sequencing as well with my lands, especially against a deck playing Stifle and Sinkhole and ways to reoccur them. Just making sure that I really know which lands of mine are the most powerful. All right. Nice. Pretty cool. Deck feels pretty nice. Should definitely have considered Loam against that deck, let's be honest. Yeah, Double Saga with Foundry is the finest top deck, 100%. 100%. But yeah, definitely miss Sideboard there. But hey, if you guys like this content, you can subscribe to me on YouTube, where all my content goes. And there are some recordings there as well, just for YouTube viewers. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you on YouTube. Yeah, Retro Spear, so good. Ugh. All right. Hey, White Hyena. This deck was not donated. I was just looking around at Ali and what he was working on. Who Albert Lindblom, as you might know him as a lands expert, was playing around with this kind of version with Thraben Turbine, which is a pretty cool card. And yeah, just seeing where the deck could go as a green-black deck instead of a green-white deck, which is pretty sweet. This is a pretty nice hand. It's a turn 1 library, which is good, and it's got the combo with Moxes, but happy to keep this. Oof. Never a good sign if they lead on LED. Badlands. Looting. Dredge, perhaps? Or the Madness deck? They just got a 2 lands. Second LED. Spirit Guide. Burning Inquiry. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I probably could have used the crop, but that is fine. They have 1 card left. Flashback looting. Another route. Okay. Ghost Quarter. I guess here we're just putting down a Reclaimer. Unfortunately, the Burning Inquiry didn't hit any land, so the Reclaimer's no closer to being a 3/4. Would have loved to have kept a Mox, so I could go Mox, Reclaimer, play a combo piece, and then hopefully go off that. They do have 1 Vengevine in the bin, which is a little bit scary. No blocks here. I'm going to try to wait it out a little bit. I think it's just stage here, turn the Bayou into Urborg, untap, and then we have Dark Depths. So hopefully just a little bit faster than our opponent here. I can just take this. I don't think I have to throw away the Reclaimer here. So they get 3 in, go to 12. Yeah, I don't have to block here. The next turn we have, yeah, Dark Depths, and then a 3/4 Reclaimer as well, which is really nice. Okay. Always scary against this deck. It's a very fast deck. But thankfully, I think here we're just a little bit faster. I don't think I have to worry about anything here. Like, not even a Wasteland or a Caracas. But I am just going to quickly check an upkeep. Because you never know. I'm going to call it Madness. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, I think here I'm pretty happy just to... This also means next turn we also have Step in the deck for Putrid Imp in case they play it, but I believe that might not be able to block. And they might also only play 1 copy. Hey Bant, welcome. Nice. It's just a little bit quicker, which is a really nice start, especially after discarding both Moxes. Just shows the power of Reclaimer and the power of Urborg, allowing you to tap Dark Depths for mana and combo off that turn earlier, which is really nice. Alright, so I don't really need the Needles. I don't think needling any of the 1 mana creatures is worth it. Do they play Narco? Usually not. So usually it's just a straight up sort of Jund Madness deck. So they have the 8 Root Wallers, they have Anger to get haste, they have Vengevines, which are obviously a hasty threat, Hollow Ones for extra discard and then play them for free. The Oxes is kind of a grindy way. They have Run Afoul, which is interesting. Run Afoul could be a card to worry about. So I think here we want the 2 ley lines. I don't mind the Plague Engineers, especially on I think it's just Lizard. Yeah, Lizard, and then having it as a blocker for a big creature is pretty nice. So I don't want the Thought Seizers. They run out of cards pretty quickly. Probably can go down on 1 library. I want the ley lines. I want the Plague Engineers. I want the Endurances. Karakas can probably come out. I don't think they're playing Hogak, but maybe that's a consideration. Map into Bog is quite nice. I can probably drop down on a Needle, let's be honest. Even like just 2 Needles. I don't really even need the Needles. Let's be fair. Maybe a Needle as a target. Maybe turn 1 library is actually pretty good, especially if we have like a leyline version. And then maybe just a... Yeah, maybe an Oof. The only thing with Oof is that it does hit LED, but a lot of the times where they're playing LED, they're using it the same turn. But maybe also just as a creature to have in play, Oof isn't the worst. It does turn off our own Mox Diamonds, but I think that's okay. Just having a last look. I think this is all good. Really want to have that... Okay. This is an interesting hand. It really relies on like no Burning Inquiry and just having the Engineers for Lizard. We do have 1 piece of the combo and 1 piece of the combo, which is nice. I don't mind this. It is a little bit slower, but I'm happy to keep this for science and see how it checks out. If I draw a Black Source, I can also turn 1 Hex Mage, which as a 2/1 first strike is pretty nice. Just don't Inquiry. Okay. I guess the second Mox would also be a really nice draw into a turn 1 Plague. Saga. Okay. Well, then I probably want to Mox. Get it on the field. Get rid of Step. And then play Saga this turn. Maybe next turn I want to play Saga. Because next turn I'm playing the Plague Engineer, so I actually won't get the activation off it. Because it comes down on 1, untap goes to 2, we play Plague, and then turn 3 we lose it. So I'd rather just play Stage here. Maybe Karakas, just in case they play like a Hogak. Oh, Anger. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Now we got a race. They have 1 card left. Alright, let's play Saga. Let's play Engineer and name Lizard. And now we have a great blocker for the hollow one as well. That Badlands is also our second black source if we really need it through stage. I think they just bash here. Yeah. Trophy, interesting. I probably like the Plague here more than Saga creature. Because Saga can find... Oh, okay, what if we go Thespian stage, nothing. End step, copy Badlands, untap, Saga finds map, and then with the one floating and the Caracas, we use map to find Dark Depths, we use the Mox Diamond and the Thespian stage being a Badlands, being the second black source to cast Hex Mage, play the Dark Depths for turn, we then have the combo. There we go, that's the line. I just want to make sure that we don't just lose here. If we do that, if we do need to have a blocker of some sort. Ravager. Let this trigger happen. Yeah, making a dude here doesn't really do anything. I guess that means we can attack next turn with lifelink, which isn't great. 3, 6, 7, 8. We go to 4. I think we need that Badlands more than the 2/2 here. Because if I create a 2/2 here and then untap, get Shadow Spear, we then need 2 mana to activate it. Okay, and then Plague Engineer can name Basking. Maybe that's better. Maybe that's the play. So let's go. Create a dude. Untap. I guess I could create another dude. But I really want that extra mana, so sadly not. Retrofit is definitely interesting as well, but I think Shadow Spear here is just a little bit nicer because it puts us above. Like another hasty threat. And it is 2 to equip. Yeah, I think that's fine. think we're okay. I wanted to attack there to gain 4 in case they had a removal spell for the construct, and then we gain nothing. There's one Vengevine. Okay. That does die, which is kind of nice for us. But they're probably trying to get back the Vengevine here. Ah, another Ravager. Oof. I think that does it. Maybe the attack wasn't the best. Maybe the attack should have been a no attack. Because now we block here and we still take 8. See what they discard, in case they discard like Run Afoul or something? No. Just to see. But yeah, there's no great blocks. If we block here, we still take the 8. Boom. Alright. Do we want to sideboard any differently? I don't think so. I think it's just run it back and... yeah, hopefully get that second black source or a green source early on. But that was our keep, so... it's always going to happen. No green mana is really rough here. 1 mana? No. Just not going to cut it. We can do better. Okay. Turn 1 hold up crop. Kind of have the combo-ish. If we keep this, bottom library, we can then Bayou, crop into Urborg, play Dark Depths, play Hexmage. I think that's just the way we get there this game. Still fine. Just a land, sure. 2 cards left. Holy one, that's okay. 1 card left. Pretty good for us. Let's crop away Bayou. Let's go and get Urborg. Let's play Dark Depths, and then let's play Hexmage. And then they have 1 card left, so it has to be like run afoul and then draw green source, or other way. Okay. Oof. They're putting a card into their graveyard. Because they have no other cards in hand. So what is it? Do I have to respond to it? I don't think I do. Interesting. Sure. Sure. Yes. Skin of Depths now. Gonna block the Ravager. That's the most annoying card. I just hope the 3 isn't like green source into run afoul. What are they trying to do? Nice. So good. So good. And I love that the deck has this, that you can mulligan quite aggressively to the combo and have that turn to Hexmage Urborg Dark Depths line, which is really cool. Nice. Very, very cool. But yeah, having, run afoul as the only real out is a definite tough time for Madness against the Dark Depths decks, but yeah, Imp's always an interesting one. They didn't have Threshold. Alright, let's do this. Miss Destroy. 2-0 Lussing with Doomsday. Rough. Doomsday is going to be a tough one. We do have Thoughtseize, which is nice. See how that goes. Sand is fine. Can also like Pithy Needle Street Wraith, which can sometimes be the line. Oof. Probably just takes out Thoughtseize, to be fair. Saga. Opponent looking probably just for a quick Dark Ritual finish here. Just to really accelerate their Doomsday line. Yep. So there is one Wraith. Another Needle. Force that. Okay. They forced it. Interesting. The only reason for the 4 Urborgs is the consistency of turn 1 Urborg, turn 2 Dark Depths, and Hexmage. But I do like the thought of a Yavimaya in the deck, especially with cards like Endurance. I think it is just Street Wraith here. They don't have an Edge of Autumn, so there potentially is there's an Edge of Autumn in the deck, but definitely a tough one. We do have a lot of time here, so let's actually look at Goldfish for a second. Because I believe usually it's a 4 of being Street Wraith, and Edge of Autumn's like a 1 of. But I could be wrong there. Doomsday. I can't name LED because it is a mana ability. I can name LED, but it won't do anything, unfortunately. So 3 Street Wraith, 2 Edge of Autumn. Well, there's Miss Destroy. So here is the player, and they play 1 Edge of Autumn. Oh, wow, but there's no Street Wraith in this version. But we do see one here, so they're obviously playing a different list. Quick look, 4 Street Wraith, 1 Edge of Autumn, 3 Street Wraith, 2 Edge of Autumn. I think it's just going to be Street Wraith here. Yeah, Needle and Revoker can be very, very confusing, for sure. Oh. Is there a world here where Saga can just get there? I can either attack for 1 this turn or attack for 3 next turn, because I can trade the Bayou in for a fetch land, which puts 2 lands in the bin, and then the Saga is the 3rd. But then I can't get my Saga token, which would be a 2/2 anyway, so I think I might as well attack here. I don't have Wasteland, I have Ghost Quarter. Oh, I could get Ghost Quarter, that could potentially do something. Maybe that was the play. I just make... Oh, can I just make... Should do the quick math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. All good, all good, all good. So I wanna make the token here. Oh, did I not? Oh no! Oh my gosh, I didn't. Actually, it shouldn't matter. Even though I screwed it up, because we do have the Shadow Spear to grab onto, which gives it an extra +1/+1. And then this is 5 in total. Did I just punt and then make it back? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh, I gotta get up. Oh, you idiot! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Wow, so Street Wraith must have been it, which is really nice to get game one. Oof. All right. I like the hymns. I like the oof. I like the endurances. I don't like the Caracas. Probably don't need the step. Foundry's just too slow. Shadow Spear isn't too bad because it allows us to get a little bit more aggressive. Trophies. Trophies are actually pretty interesting because we can hit lands off them. I don't mind the Moxes as it allows us to really try to be aggressive. I might go down on like 2 needles. Just have like 2 needles there. It means we can name both Street Wraith and Edge of Autumn if it comes to. You can also bring in a choke. I actually don't mind a choke over extra needle. There we go. See how this goes. I don't think I need the force. Yeah. That was pretty classic. Hey, thanks, Brew. I will. Done. $60.15. Cool. Oof. Alright. Really want some sort of hand disruption. Took's face emoticons. This is an interesting hand. It has the endurance, which is nice, but otherwise it's pretty slow. We do get 2 Reclaimers turn 1, but then no lands in play. I think I'd rather mulligan to more than just the endurance, but this does have like a pretty nice Saga feel to it, like double Mox into Saga. But then we need an extra land. Xavier Rudd's really nice. Yeah, good like guitar kind of acoustic music. Yeah, I used to listen to a lot of Xavier Rudd, especially back in school. He's quite big, like along like we are on the draw. Actually, I'm going to keep this. I think the pressure is good, the mana is good, and we have a piece of interaction. So Jack Johnson was another big one that a lot of people listen to if they're listening to Xavier Rudd. Oof, straight for it. Okay. The question next turn, I guess this is actually quite nice because we can play Mox, Reclaimer, Saga, and then have up Daze mana for Endurance. Hey, Moist Junk, welcome. I wonder if... Look, let's just quickly see if the webcam is there. There it is. I'll definitely you know what? Let's just keep it. Let's just do the hair and then I'll. There we go. Got some greens in the background, which is nice. All right. There's one Edge of Autumn, Street Wraith, Street Wraith. 1 force, 2 force, 1 daze. Okay. Wouldn't mind like Ghost Quarter here. Library. Turn 1 library is pretty nice. But The question is, do I have time to play the library? I probably don't. I think the deck only plays 1 days. Or 1, 2, 3... Okay, so there's 3 days. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 force. I think it just has to be endurance hold up around days. And then play a reclaimer here. Mm-hmm. Three cards left. Oh, just a fetch. Interesting. Come on, like Thoughtseize here would be great. Dark Depths. That's probably just going to be cast this, pitch the Dark Depths. And then play. Hey, Jarvis. A huge thank you for the raid. Really nice. I hope you guys are well. I believe Jarvis was playing Modern, which is pretty sweet. But we're here playing Green-Black Depths in Legacy. Currently 3-0 and currently up a game against Doomsday. I think here it is just going to be Library and then play Hold Up Endurance around days. But it's definitely a tough one. How did your stream go, Jarvis? What did you play against? I know you usually play like the sort of 4-color mid-range decks in Legacy. In Modern, sorry. Losing happens. Yeah, that's fair. It can just sometimes just not turn up. My only consideration here, after my opponent considered, is do I want to endurance now or wait for the Thassa's Oracle? I don't think it really matters because Daze is free, Force is free, Pact is free, so there's no real downside to allowing them to untap. It's not like kind of like a Spell Pierce kind of thing is going to do anything. But we know they have a Force, which is tough. All right. Hey, Raging Drunk, thanks for the follow. I think we will just throw this back. Yeah, there wasn't too many considerations. The only consideration on the play was an extra choke. Just as a way for some sort of interaction. And perhaps the extra library just isn't needed. Although Tome on Library is where I want to be with this 4-Mox build, especially on the play. It might just be the Shadow Spear, to be fair. The life gain is irrelevant, and the 1 extra damage, or 2 if it is going through a Saga build, is pretty tough. Interesting hand. So we have a turn 1 Reclaimer. We have 1 piece of the puzzle, but I think against Doomsday, it's just a little bit too slow and non-interactive for them. They don't really care about any of this. Okay. Well, now we have an oof as some sort of interaction. We have half the combo in Dark Depths, and then Thespian Sage is the other half. Ghost Quarter should be a strip mine in most cases against Doomsday. But I believe they play 1 basic, but usually after they Doomsday, of course, it is a strip. I think realistically, I'm pretty happy just to mulligan this down to 5 and try to get something like a turn 1 Thoughtseize off an Urborg, Dark Depths, and Hexmage. Not there. The choke's there, which is nice, but You know, turn 3 choke just isn't where I want to be. Okay, I'll keep this. Dark Depths. I kind of want to him turn 2 if I can. So I probably want to drop the other Dark Depths so we can go turn 1 Verdant, and then if we don't draw land, we can play Stage into Sylvan Library. Which is tough. Maybe it has to be him. Yeah. And then just try to turn 2 Library, try to get a turn 3. If we could land the Library and then find some hand disruption to back up this Endurance would be okay. Personal Tutor. Okay. Okay, just a hard cast Doomsday. There is a small world where maybe keeping the Library in hand for the Endurance is better, but I don't think that's putting us in a winning position. Tough. Yeah. All right. Let's try to 4-1. That'd be pretty cool. Not too much we can do there. I think for a 4 that wasn't too bad. If we got that extra turn, which is a big if, would have been really interesting. But yeah, getting that getting a green card there instead of the him would have been pretty sweet. Hey Star War Man, thanks for the follow. Big D. We haven't really seen Loam too much as it's in the board, but I do like the thought of it as a way to recoup some of the value you lose from obviously dropping a land to Mox, but hand is pretty obviously heavy on Hexmage here, but I'm pretty happy to keep this. Mana's online, we have removal, we have some pretty good interaction as well. Okay, most likely a Pox deck. Dark Depths, nice. Still just gonna Thoughtseize here. Okay. Well, this is an interesting one, because the Innocent Bloods we can kind of play around with these extra Hex Mages. The Ensnaring Bridge is quite annoying, but we do have the Assassin's Trophy. So I think it's actually the Hinder Turak we take here, because that can really put us behind. Funnily enough, if they play the Urborg next turn, we could play Dark Depths into Hexmage, which then they have the Innocent Blood for, but I think it's just him here. We can kind of play through everything else, which is nice. Hey John, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Oh, they do play the Urborg. Interesting. I guess then we do just get to play out Hexmage here if we really want to. which means they have to trade an Innocent Blood away. Thankfully with Tabernacle, it is destroy creatures, and as Marit Lage is a 2020 indestructible creature, you don't have to pay for your 2020 with Marit Lage, with Tabernacle. And then next turn we can actually double spell. We can Hexmage and Reclaimer to play around the other Innocent Blood, and then we have Trophy for the Ensnaring Bridge. So this lines up pretty well. So they're going to cast Innocent Blood. So we just let this resolve. They play Tab to have a mana? They play a Swamp. Okay. Well, now we're looking pretty good. Shadow Spear on Lage. Yeah, Shadow Spear on Lage is pretty nice. Thankfully, I don't think we'll have to. So the Innocent Blood, we get rid of the Reclaimer. They play a land, play Ensnaring Bridge. Oh, another Innocent Blood. They drew the fourth? No, they had... Actually, no, this is fine. This is all good. We still have another Hexmage. This is all good. I knew about the third. Did I? I think so. No one is innocent. Land. I might as well play this because it represents Dryad Arbor. It also means we can hold up Assassin's Trophy. Alright, so we just know about Ensnaring Bridge. Play a land. Play the bridge. That's fine. They have one card left. End step, get rid of the bridge. Get a basic. We hit Dark Depths. They have one card left. We will not pay for Tabernacle. Oh, another Hexmage. I am just going to attack here. Nice. Okay. Very cool. So Pox deck. I do like the Loams here. I think the Loams are pretty nice as just a way to recur value. The Endurances are definitely interesting. I'm not sure how big they are on Force of Vigor. We didn't see Saga there. I can probably drop down on my own Moxen here. They aren't that great. The only thing that I like about Moxen is that we're playing Library and also bringing in the Loams. They're also a little bit harder to interact with if my opponent's playing like a Wasteland package or Sinkhole or something. I also don't think that Smallpox hits artifacts. Each player loses 1 life, discards a card, sacks a creature, sacks a land. Okay, which is interesting. Saga doesn't make a ton of sense with Innocent Blood. That's very true. Karakas I can probably drop here. The Endurances are interesting as just flash creatures. Retrofit is obviously absurd. Needle's really nice against if they're playing Planeswalkers or Voidwalker. Could just be like a Thoughtseize here. Yeah. I think this is okay. Interesting hand. We do have the combo somewhat. Get to hold up crop turn 1 as well if needed. Actually, I don't mind this. Has a little bit of bunch of everything. Hey Life, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy. To everyone who's tuning in from Jarvis's stream, a huge thank you for staying around. Rit Lily, okay. Probably just want to discard Loam here, to be honest. Opponent down to 2 cards as well. So a Moxen here would be great. We are not going to Dark Depths. Okay. Well, I could just work towards crop into Urborg. I think we'll play that out. Oh, Inquisition's pretty good. I think for that case, I just want to crop for Urborg here. That does, however, turn off our green. But I think that's okay. In that case, I just want to go for a snow-covered... Actually, a forest, because then I want to increase the chances of drawing into a bayou, in case I do. Yeah, if it was Ashiok, that would be pretty absurd. They'll probably take the Hex Mage here. Especially seeing our mana. Hex Mage also just a clean answer to the Liliana. Yeah. But no land drop. Interesting. Oh, Mox. That's actually really nice, because now it gives us an answer to the Lily. So let's play... I'm going to play the Depths, because if they have us if they him us next turn, I'd rather lose the stage, because Dark Depths is turned on by both stage and Hexmage. And then I'll trophy in draw step. So that if they draw their basic, then it's 1 less that they can actually get off the trophy. Does give them a 2nd mana though, which is a little bit scary. Because they were on 1 land for a while there. There probably is a world where I actually don't care about the Liliana, if we're just activating stage and end step. Yeah, and this is actually a big loss. Because what I could have done is just kept the Assassin's Trophy to discard to Liliana, and then play the stage next turn. Oof. Okay. Oh, we do have the Loam. But I do need another land for that. Okay, well there it is. So here's our graveyard. They're just going to try to draw a card here, I think. Yeah. We want a Loam. Loam back stage, Urborg, Dark Depths. Play stage and pass. Means we can't get himmed again off the combo, which is pretty nice. Second castle. I am gonna loam here. I guess I could try to draw into like a Thoughtseize. It's pretty interesting. I think I'd rather just loam. Saga Depths. Okay, that's pretty good. I am gonna play. Yeah, I can play Urborg here. And that means I can also loam, which is pretty nice. In a pretty nice position. Taking a draw a card. Hey, Fox. Ah, yeah, the stream title didn't update. Apologies. Apologies all. Alright, they get bridge. One trophy in the bin. Thoughtseize is fine. They're just going down to 0 cards. I'd probably still make the 2020 here in case we just draw into... Oh, I could also just start like copying their Lock Twain here. Don't really want to Lock Twain just yet. Yeah, copying Saga seems really strong. I can also Ghost Quarter them out. I don't think there's any reason to bulk them just yet. I'd rather just play out a land. And probably get Dark Depth. Probably get a Ghost Quarter off Expedition map and start going that route. Okay. Discard a Dark Depths. Nether Void. Yuck. Sack a land. Probably just Dark Depths here. Already have one in hand. Alright, they have 0 cards in hand, so let's just make a dude. I'm just gonna make another dude here so I don't have to like worry about how I stack the triggers. Should probably actually Ghost Quarter in their draw step. Yeah, so Ghost Quarter is a way out to stop them from being able to cast their spells, and then the other one is the trophy. Probably just gonna discard Loam here. So here what I can do actually, which is cool, is I can use Thespian Stage with the trigger on the stack to copy Bayou, which means I don't lose the Saga to its sack ability, but also get to search still, which is pretty nice. And I'm probably just going to get a Mox Diamond to allow me to drop Bajuka Bog, which allows me to cast Loam here to get back Saga, Ghost Quarter, Thespian Stage. Saga's pretty cool. Saga's pretty fun. It does keep the Maker a Golem, which is pretty sweet. Which is pretty broken. See if they get a basic here or not. I feel like they're running out. I feel like they have nothing, actually. Okay, they do. What was that? Innocent Blood, okay. Inquisition's fine. I do also have to watch my deck size, because I'm down to 27 cards. So funnily enough here, with the Wasteland, what I can do is copy the basic Swamp, which will fizzle the Wasteland effect, because the Thespian Stage will become a basic Swamp with the ability to still create construct tokens. So good. This deck is sick. I want to draw into Assassin's Trophy, so actually I'm going to stop loaming Crop. Okay. That's fine. Luckily, Saga can go and find Needle for Liliana, so I'm not too scared of that. I just want to find this trophy once. But I can loam here. Still for a Ghost Quarter. Ah, did I float 2 white? Come on now. Ghost Quarter, Saga Depths. There is only one Ghost Quarter, that's correct. Well, they have more. I should have floated a mana there, but it's going to be okay. Yeah. I'm just going to do this now. And then triggers will happen. Don't want to draw because I want to draw Assassin's Trophy. That's pretty nice. Still pretty happy with Needle. Play Depths. Should have used the Dark Depths there because then I can hold up crop rotation. We do have an Assassin's Trophy left in the deck. But something like a Nether Void would be pretty tough. That's very true. We can also start copying stage, which is nice. Mox. I kept one card in hand. Interesting. What happens if I turn that stage into a Saga again? I believe then it goes back to getting like the third thing, which can be tough. This is fine. Oh, they hit themselves. That's smart. I'm not making the 2020 here because I could, but I really just want to be able to try to draw into this Assassin's Trophy. Thoughtseize does nothing. I could Thor Depths as well. I also just want to make sure I watch my clock as well, because I am 3 minutes down. Oof. I can start making a foundry and start getting 1/1 Thopters, just in case there's something they can't cast. Another bridge is actually devastating. That makes me kind of have to go for the Ghost Quarter plan now. But I think we're just going to get loamed out if we do that. Oh, we hit the trophy. It was the next one. No. Needle and Wasteland's also a pretty good one. Probably should have Needle on Wasteland so they can't interact with this Ghost Quarter. Okay. Oh, they're out. Okay. Okay. We don't have a great way to kill our own artifacts. Needle. I don't think we have a way out of the Pith Needle, unfortunately, if they name Ghost Quarter. We do have Thespian Stage, which is still a copy of Ghost Quarter. So actually, I think the stages can keep copying this, maybe? No, because it's still a Ghost Quarter. I think that is it, unfortunately, yeah. And just keep the time for the next game. I probably want to bring in an Endurance for that. And maybe a Force of Vigor, just to have one. I think we can discard the Thoughtseizers. Maybe actually the extra Endurance is just better, even as a 3/4. I'm pretty happy with how that looks. Yeah, Endurance also means we can shuffle our deck back into, or our graveyard back into the deck, which is nice. And hold off that. Just to make sure we don't deck ourselves, because that can be a little bit tricky. And then just as a 3/4 flash creature can be really strong, which is nice. I wonder if they're playing Opposition Agent. That'd be pretty sweet. Why not 2 Force of Vigors? I could, maybe like 2 instead of the extra needle is fine. Just to make sure, like, if I loam one, that I know there's still one in the deck. But Ensnaring Bridge is the only... I guess we also saw needles, so there probably is a reason to play 2. Shadow Spear is definitely interesting. I think Shadow Spear is still okay. Love to play first. This is like a hand. Urborg Stage Depths. With Force and Endurance. I think it's a better hand. This probably isn't it, to be fair, but... What am I mulling to? Like a Mox into Sylvan Library? Mox... Okay. Probably bottom Dark Depths Crop here. Keep the Reclaimer. I'm gonna bottom a Crop. And maybe it's just the Reclaimer here. Plays around Innocent Blood. And then we can play around Wasteland as well by playing Stage into Mox Diamond Pitch Stage. It's probably okay. Yeah. If they went Urborg Inquisition, that would be interesting. I guess there's a world where I actually should have just gone for Urborg there, in case we drew into something. Righto. Well, now my opponent can't play Urborg. Oh. Okay. I think here I will get rid of a stage just to get Urborg. Yeah. Urborg and Thor, yeah. Opponent's win con looks to be Saga or Liliana's. I do have to think here because we are down to 6 minutes. I am going to get Urborg because it just turns on a fair amount of things. Yeah. And I think let's get rid of the stage. Because then like an extra Thespian stage or Hex Mage is just going to be a nice little out. Yeah. They can Liliana their own bridge. They can target themselves and then put everything in one pile and then ensnaring bridges in another pile to get rid of it. Or they could just not play them if they are on the... if they think the Saga Plan is where they want to go. Oh, Surgical Stage? Okay. That's definitely better than Surgical Dark Depths. That would be tough. That does make crop rotation a little bit worse, though. Retrofitter. Yikes. Maze? Ugh. I should definitely have responded because they can just Needle Saga now. Yeah. I think this start is just a little bit too tough. Like the maze, having access to just 1/1 flyers that can't be hit by step. There's definitely a few things here. I guess we have like Force of Vigor to draw into. Yeah. Probably just our own retro here. Right. Oof. Okay. Well, that's pretty nice. I think we just hold up that hard cast. Especially when they tap here. Yeah. I think I get rid of the needle. But I could get rid of the construct. Definitely interesting. I think because we have the Retrofitter Foundry, I'm not really worried about the Saga anymore. So I think it is just taking out their threat. And then just 6ing because we are in the red. Okay. Oh. Hex Mage, and then make a dude straight away. Just to play around like Sudden Edict. Wasteland, it's pretty good. Could be a world where we just don't care about the saga here, the Dark Depths. Because of the maze? I'd rather see if they like try to remove the Hex Mage and then we can just trade it for the Liliana. Happy to sack the servo. Surgical Dark Depths. Alright. Well, then it's definitely going to come down to Retrofit a Foundry. Okay. Might as well attack the Lily, although they do have the maze. Alright. I might as well trade the Hex Mage with the Liliana here. Because if we make a sack, then we just lose a creature anyway. We lose an extra creature, I guess. That is true. I guess the Hex Mage is just going to be sacked anyway. Wow, they took out the Bayou. This means we can go and get map into oh, Endurance is also pretty nice, but kind of dead here. I should have floated mana. Gonna do this now. All right, let's get in. I mean, they could just draw 3 drops. We'll see. Ugh. I didn't mean to do that one. That's a misplay. I meant to create another 1/1. It might just be getting to the stage where we just have to create 4/4s and then hopefully we can just draw into a Assassin's Trophy for bridge. Yikes. Come on now. Actually, yeah, it's probably Liliana. Okay. We don't have a flyer. I thought one of ours was a flyer, unfortunately. Ah, okay. The out here is really to make 4/4s, and then just hope that we can draw into a spellbomb, a trophy, to hit said ensnaring bridge. Oh, they're going to draw a card here. Oh, they drew Urborg. Rough. Come on, trophy. Come on, deck. Mox. We're just passing. Oh, don't yield here. No, no, no! Oh, so close. So close. So close. One land. One land does it. Oh my gosh. Oh, please don't make us discard. I guess if we do, that's not too bad. Nothing. Okay. No! Please! Oh my gosh. No! 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 Oh my gosh. Oh. Look, the deck was sweet. The deck was sweet, and it's good for the stream, so I'm happy there. Yeah, I thought it was sweet. I thought it was really good. The deck was pretty consistent, which was nice, which is cool. Probably the flex slots around the main deck trophies. I could see these being the 2 Life from the Loams and putting them in the main deck. The mana base felt pretty good. The Saga build felt pretty good. So close. So close, chat. Maybe, I think the only change that I'd probably make is turn these hymns into duresses for combo, just to have more turn 1 plays. Because even double black on turn 2 isn't the easiest to get, especially in a version with all 4 sagas. Library was really solid. I liked Library a lot, especially in the slower version with Mox Diamonds. Yeah, pretty happy. But that is going to be my stream. A huge thank you to everyone who came and watched. That was awesome. That was really sweet. So that was pretty cool. I'd also like to get back to Punishing Maverick. I think Punishing Maverick would be pretty fun to play. So we'll see how that goes. For all of those who came in from Jarvis' stream, a huge thank you. If you want to follow the channel, you can find me here, of course, or you can find me on YouTube and Twitter. But until then, enjoy your weeks ahead. Enjoy your Christmases, your holidays. I'm going to be away for a little while, but I'll be back and streaming hopefully next year. So until then, yeah, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. I'm going to see who else is quickly streaming, because rating them would be very, very cool. Looks like Card Kingdom's actually streaming, which is pretty sweet. So I'm going to raid Card Kingdom. Nice. I'm going to go see June. June seems pretty cool. Thanks, Salty, for the follow.